Hey Gary, so I thought I'd send you a video because to be honest, it's slightly easier. So these are the clips, and you can kind of see in between the body and the clip itself. It's not focusing brilliantly. There you go. There's a kind of there's an audio putty, and basically you can see it's got a little bit of movement. I've used screws as well, because to be honest, the way it gets slung about in flight cases, it would just get knocked off. But the idea is that putty absorbs some of the vibrations as the instrument is moving, or in this case, as it vibrates. So I fitted one on the left-hand side there, which leans over and mics up basically any of the bass section there. I haven't actually got the mics, those are in the garage at the moment. But on this side, I've got two clips. One I usually use, and that comes down and basically services the main part of the keyboard. And then there's a couple of tracks where I just need a bit more coverage up this end, and I just clip it onto there. Those, I've not worried about the putty so much with that, because the lid itself doesn't vibrate too much. The audio foam that I mentioned, I've got some here. It's basically those. That's a cut down piece. It's the stuff that goes on the walls in our studio next door. So I've just cut down pieces of that, basically little triangles, and I've kind of filled the cavity with it, so you can see there's some down the back there, and then this just goes in there. It just takes the harsh edge off the sound. If it's pure sound going into the microphones, it is a bit too much for my liking. I tend to leave this bit open just because I do a few solos up there that just need a bit of a boost. So it's kind of a natural way of getting that boost, but I hardly ever use this part of the keyboard, to be honest. And then the other thing was the expanding bolts. Now that there, if I can focus on it. It's not letting me focus on it. No. Let's try on a different background. There we go. So that there, I managed to find it in B&Q. I call it an expanding bolt, and I can't remember what the actual name of it is, but basically you can expand it or contract it, and I tend to brace in, it's quite hard to do one-handed, I didn't think this through. I tend to brace the body against, well, the two parts of the body. One there, we tend to stick one on C sharp because we don't use that too much. It's not quite the right size, that. One on C sharp, and then one in there. It makes a dramatic amount of difference, that. If you don't do that, you'll get a hell of a lot of low-end rumble coming through the microphones when you clip them on. Other than that, anything else? The only other thing to note is I've replaced the power with just a standard kettle lead connection there, because if you keep the regular flex on that it's got, you'll find it gets damaged. It gets damaged pretty quickly. So there you go. That's a quick whistle stop tour, and you can get to see all my little cheat sheets that I put on the legs there to help me get through the songs that I haven't quite learnt the lyrics for yet. Anyway, hope that's helpful. But any other questions, do give me a shout. Ta-ra for now.